Hey, good afternoon. And I am here with Tiffany Williams, and she is a professional organizer and she specializes in a really interesting topic. It's a frustrating topic because there's a lot of misunderstanding about it, and that's ADHD and clutter.
Mhm.
And so today we're going to have that conversation and we're going to unpack some of the frustrations that we run into. And maybe we're going to come to some solutions today. But one thing I know for sure is that with Tiffany's expertise, we're going to start looking at the world a tiny bit differently than maybe we did earlier today. So please help me welcome Tiffany Williams.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Can we talk about pivoting for just a second?
Yeah.
Because some of the homes that we've been in
Mhm.
are unfortunately stacked in, I'm going to get there. For
Mhm.
example, there's something in front of the washing machine, and so the
Mhm.
clothes don't get washed.
Mhm.
And because stuff's been stacked there for a long time, maybe a pipe broke, and maybe the washing machine doesn't actually even work.
Mhm.
And so there are, I need to get to this in order to get to this, in order to get to
Right.
this. Like, how do we know which is the biggest priority? And how do we pivot when you come up on something and you're like, oh, I didn't realize the washing machine was broken and the pipe had busted. And
Right.
because the pipe busted, water spilled, and now there's like mold in the house. Which of
Right.
those major issues do you deal with first?
Yeah. And so that's something that we would have to talk about. And to be honest, sometimes, especially if it's someone that's felt apprehensive and nervous, and maybe they've been delaying things that needed to be taken care of in other parts of their life besides the clutter, being able to reach out to a plumber and not feel like a plumber that's going to come and fix the pipe for the washer and dryer is going to they're going to be embarrassed now that they're coming in or feel a sense of shame. But every situation is different, and obviously then the clothing in front of the washer and dryer doesn't matter. We need to
Mhm.
address the safety concerns that are there. In the same way that sometimes I will get called for someone that's hurt themselves, fallen and broke a hip, that sort of thing, and they maybe have excessive clutter, but they need to be discharged fairly quickly. And so we need to get a clear space without rugs that they can trip over, space for their wheelchair, those sort of things. So I don't know if that answers really 100% your question, but I think based off of urgency always, if it is really just a regular goal, then we can talk about the steps that need to be involved in it. If it's more an urgent goal, then we need to talk about, like, hey, this is a health, and when you're talking about mold, that's a health and safety issue. We really need to address that. My part is not as important in the grand scheme of things. If your toilet doesn't work or your oven doesn't work, or if your heater doesn't work or you have a hole in the roof, that's more important than a pared down closet. And so really making sure that is the highest priority as it comes up.
Is helping people understand and recognize the highest priority, something that you can help people with that are maybe not sure.
Well, that's an example that I would do with clients if they have a lot of things that they want to have done, but they're not sure what to start with, or maybe the steps. I will do a goal mapping session with them. And especially if they're a visual person, we will literally write down all of the goals that they have, the things that they need to follow up on, the things that they want to do, and sometimes just being able to visually see on the paper, like, oh, hey, I can't do this. I can't do this step until I do this step is really helpful. And they can
Mhm.
visually see instead of trying to figure out in your mind, holding all of this information to get it down on paper and make a decision that way, I think is sometimes very helpful, especially if you are a visual person. And sometimes we have to talk through that a little bit, but that is a strategy that's been very effective for some of my more visual clients.
And what do you say to the person that maybe they see the clutter and maybe they know that they need to call somebody like you for help and the not finishing the projects and not getting around to it? How do we get from, I think I have ADHD and I just can't focus and I can't finish a project I've started, to making that phone call and saying, now is the time and I'm going to do this and I'm going to block out a little window on my calendar. And by paying, I'm going to pay attention.
Mm.
How do we get from here to there?
I think you have to have not only a need, but also a want. And
Mhm.
so for some people, they are very comfortable and what they have works for them. And so that is not the time to call me. I would say that there's definitely a place for the clients that I serve where something that used to work doesn't work anymore. And so if you are okay with having a whole bunch of half done projects that you may or may not in your lifetime be able to do, then I'm not the person for you. But if you have decided that maybe we need to, in order to downsize or to have some more space or have family over more frequently, there's usually some sort of reason. And so maybe I'm going to pick the top 5 projects still to work on, and the other projects can go because the probability that I'm going to finish those in 2 years or 5 years is very slim. And so I think it has to not only be a need, but for some reason, there has to be a want for change. If you're comfortable with the way things are, perfect. If you feel like having some outside help with some additional suggestions, with some strategies that may be more helpful for you, but also to have somebody kind of there grounding you during the process and supporting you, then that would be a perfect time to call someone like me.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been so fascinating.
Yes, it was awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you so much, Tiffany. And thank you guys
Welcome.
for showing up today. This was awesome. We'll
Thanks,
see you next
everybody.
time.